Good morning. Oh, welcome to your yoga practice today. Um, we've been talking a little bit this week about Vata, which is one of the doshas. Oh, good to see you. And you might notice I'm in a new location today. We had a little snafu in the office, so I'm actually at my neighbor's house. So you might see a little kitty or two joining me, but right now they're wondering what's going on. Anyway, for Vata, it is a dosha, and it also we can correlate it kind of with seasons. And today in Florida, it happens to be a windy, dry, kind of blustery day, which we would consider to be Vata weather. And in our lives, sometimes it feels like we just have so many responsibilities. And we've had a few people share this, where it's one thing, another thing, another thing, another thing, and you're trying to get your self-care in, and you're trying to nourish yourself and nurture yourself. And you really do have a lot of responsibilities, and your life is in more of a Vata kind of season. So we're going to kind of keep that in mind today if you find yourself there. And the first thing we're going to do is from a standing position. And I learned this to be churnings from my teacher in Alaska. And this can have an effect on you if you're feeling lethargic, tired. You could be feeling maybe like a lot of tension or just a lot of energy, and that needs to move around. So sometimes the things we do in yoga have a dual purpose and can affect us regardless of what state we're in. So for churnings, we start with the feet, and I learned it to turn your toes under. So you're kind of on your toenails. However, this is not always comfortable. So if this isn't comfortable for you, you would just stay kind of on the ball of your foot, and you just start to make circles. They don't need to be really big or anything like that, but you do want to kind of have them increase in size, get a little bit of range there. So smaller to bigger. And again, if you are on the toenails part, it might be just a different sensation because you're not used to it. And that is okay too. And then go in the second direction. Just starting to get the blood flowing. So you can imagine if you've been feeling like not a lot of energy, this gets the blood flowing. But also if you feel pent up energy, it can start moving that around as well. And then place that foot down and just pause. Maybe close your eyes to notice the different sensations between the foot that was moving and the one that didn't. You might notice like there's an initial energy and then it kind of dissipates. There's my friend. Okay, and then second one. These kitties are brothers, and their names are Howard and Leonard. So if you are familiar with the Big Bang Theory, there was a whole litter, and they named all the cats from the Big Bang. So these guys were Howard and Leonard, and they kept their names when they were adopted. And then second direction. And then placing that foot down, and just one more time, kind of noticing. And then we'll start with some knee circles. So if you have tender knees, you want to keep these small, and you don't need to bend your knees very much. So we'll just start making some small circles. And you can kind of roll around on the feet too, if that feels good. Also, don't worry if you have some, little sensations, maybe a little cracking sensation or whatever. You just don't want that to be the same place more than a couple of times. So if that happens, stop doing it. And then second direction. And coming back up, take your feet a little bit wider. And then some hip circles. I like to place my hands on the hips for this. But whatever you want to do with your arms here, feel free. You want to really try to get as much range of motion as you can here. And then back in direction. I'm coming to center. And this next one is going to be a swinging of the arms. And so just can start gently like this, side to side. And as you get going, you can maybe bring the arms up a little higher so they give a little tap on the shoulder or close to the collarbone, wherever your arm lands. And then you can make your hand into a fist just for a little bit of a more firm tap. And if your hand is able to reach your back with this swing, you can also tap on the back. Generally, it's around the kidney area where most people's hands land. Just see if you can get a rhythm and feel into how is this feeling for you? Is this a new sensation? If so, is your body asking like, oh, what are we doing right now? Does it feel good, invigorating? Just notice. Just a few more times. And then just start to slow it down a little bit. Coming back to center. And we can bring the feet a little bit closer together. And we'll do some inhalations and exhalations as we raise the arms. So inhaling, arms come up. Really reach those fingers to the sky, lifting the rib cage. Exhaling, arms come down. You can take the gaze, the eyes up a little bit if that feels okay and doesn't interfere with your balance in any way. And speaking of balance, check in with your feet and see if your weight is distributed evenly. Sometimes we default to having weight more in the front or the back of our foot. So see if you can redistribute. A couple of more cycles like this. This will be the last one up. And then exhale down. Okay, then we're going to come down to a seat. I'm going to come and grab a strap. But before you get down there, find a strap as well. And something to sit on if that is good for you. And just keep a couple of blocks nearby just in case. Okay, so find your comfortable seat. And we're going to move into some breath work right now. Something to just keep in mind is that if you're practicing sitting down for meditation or even sitting down to start your yoga practice and you are feeling either lethargic or really tired or kind of wound up, having some movement such as those churnings can help you as you sit down to either bring a little more energy or to dissipate what's going on. And it makes the practice of breath work just a smidge easier. So a long seat, which means the tailbone is rooted down. Anything that's pressing into the earth, such as the feet, the calves, part of your thighs, whatever it is, imagine that is really just rested fully into the earth. And the spine grows in length, like all the vertebrae separating from each other as the crown of the head lifts to the sky and the chin comes down just a smidge. Shoulders down the back. And just see where your breath is right now. It might be a little quicker than usual from the movement we've just done. So let yourself get settled into a breath that is longer and softer on both the inhalation and the exhalation. And see if your awareness can start to sense the breath in the belly. You might notice this by just noticing how the belly moves with the breath. Keep your mind focused there. Just imagining yourself coming more and more into the present moment, coming into kind of the seat of yourself. And then over the next several breath cycles, we're going to work on an extended exhale. This may come naturally to you, and you can naturally feel when you extend your exhale. Or you may like to count your inhalation and then exhale for a few counts longer. You just find the rhythm that works for you here. Remembering that our pranayama practice or breath practice should not cause breathlessness. And that's why you find your own count, because we all are different. Every time you find that extended exhalation, imagine that as an invitation to be fully in the present moment, fully aware of sensation in your body. And you just follow that invitation through the whole entire exhale, letting it draw you in, in, in. More cycles like this. And then let your breath release. You can gently open the eyes. We're going to extend the arms out in front with the palms facing up. And then as you bend the elbow, curl the fingers and bring the tops of the fingers to your shoulders. And we're just going to start making little circles right here. Just do a few times with these little circles. And as it begins to feel comfortable, you can make the circles bigger. Seeing if you can come as close as you can to center. So the arms might touch each other, but they might not. You're just really trying to create a full range of motion. So as the circles get bigger, the elbows might go back behind the shoulders and come forward. So really take your time here. And just notice how this feels. If you have any kind of spots that feel good to rest in, let yourself do that. And then next time your arms come to center, see if you can start going in the opposite direction. And this might feel a little bit awkward, and that's okay. A few more times like this. And letting the hands come down to the lap, and then just roll the shoulders a little bit. Kind of notice what's happening. And then let the shoulders settle down the back. We're going to extend the arms out to the side, palms facing forward. Take a nice inhale here. And as you exhale, cross the arms over the body like you're giving yourself a big hug. And then the inhale opens. And as you cross the arms again, put the opposite arm on top. So we just continue like this, changing which arm comes on top. And when you are in this kind of hug position, you can pause and kind of pull down on the arms a little bit, making some space there. This is a really nice one for shoulders, but also can feel like comforting to yourself, because it's kind of like you're giving yourself a hug. And a couple more times like this. And then releasing. We're just going to pause to notice. So one long inhalation, one long exhalation. And just seeing how that feels. And then as you find your strap, take your strap in about the middle. So your right arm's going to come in front of you with the palm facing toward the sky. And you're going to place the strap on the palm and then close it momentarily as we take the right hand behind, usually it's about behind the back of the neck, and the right elbow you aim for toward the sky, but depending on what's going on with your body, your elbow could be out to the side. Wherever it is, you want to think about an opening, like an opening through the armpit and even across the collarbone a little bit, because you're pushing your elbow either to the side or to the sky. So holding that there, finding a comfortable place, extend your left arm out with the thumb up to the sky, and then turn so the palm is facing away from you and the thumb is down. And then take that hand behind your back to find the other end of the strap. And you'll hold on to that. So the top of your hand is against your back body somewhere. And then we're just going to take some breaths here. So it's good to check in with the belly and the ribs. If they've started to kind of poke out a little bit, or you found yourself with more of an arch in your back, come back to a more neutral place. And then just start to take some of those longer breaths here. I have a pretty good sensation here because yesterday was a work day for me. So I spent a lot of time working at a desk. So whatever sensation you're having, we have the ability to practice sending our breath there. And that just, to me, means we kind of envision each inhalation and exhalation soothing that area. And then when you're ready, on your next exhale, release this and just bring the arms down and notice any residual effect. You might feel like there's a little more blood flowing, or you can feel the blood starting to flow again. So just let that happen. Well, not like you have a choice, but just notice it a little bit. And then we're going to switch and do the second side. So palm up on the left, taking that behind, finding wherever feels comfortable, noticing any difference from one side to the next, and then extending the right arm out, thumb up, and then you turn the palm so the thumb comes down, reaching behind you. Finding the strap. Oh, it's a little trickier on this side. There we go. Okay, and then there's just a little bit of tension there, not too much, right? Because you're holding the strap. Again, the drawing of the belly and the ribs in, if they poked out, and some long, slow breaths. Couple of more cycles like this. And then releasing the strap, bringing the hands down. Just keep the strap to the side. We're going to use it in a few minutes. Hands down to the side. A little bit of noticing here. And then we'll just work on the neck a little bit. So let your right ear go down to the right shoulder. Taking several long breaths here. And then taking your left hand with the top of the hand, again, touching the back, just like it was trying to hold the strap, but now it's just back there. And notice how that changes the sensation moving up the top of the shoulder through the neck when you take your arm behind you. Breathe here several times. If this is uncomfortable, put your arm back down to the side. And then release the hand, gently bring the head back to center. Again, we just want to pause to notice. It's helpful to notice the effects that yoga has on us because then we want to do it more because it feels good. Left ear to left shoulder. Take some breaths here to let yourself get used to the sensation. And then the top of the right hand behind the small of the back or whatever's comfortable. Just noticing how that changes. And some long, slow breaths. Good, then coming back to center, releasing that. Okay, dokie. We're going to make our way to standing. Find your block and the strap. Okay, so as we get the strap, take your arms as wide as is comfortable. And as we inhale, up, exhale, behind. And we're just going to do this movement, working on the shoulders. So hopefully, when your arms are as wide as they go on the strap, you're able to do this without too much disturbance. So a smooth movement where you don't have to manipulate or try to bend the elbows any. You know, they bend a little bit, but not a bunch. If you feel like this is pretty easy, you can bring your hands in a little bit closer together and see how that feels. Again, we want to have a smooth movement. So if you find, usually what you'll find if you're too close together is you get stuck. And we don't want that. We want to create a small movement. So adjust for yourself accordingly. The next time you come up to the sky, pause there. Start taking the arms side to side. Dropping the right, then the left. And it's really important that we bring movement to our joints. And it doesn't need to be anything really aggressive, just simple movements like we've been doing. Okay, then bring the strap in front. Roll the shoulders. Roll the head a little bit. And then just come into your Tadasana. And just notice where you feel ease in your body. And where you notice there's some effort being made. Right? There's usually some of both. So it's just noticing. And then opening the eyes. I'm going to turn to the side for this next one. We're going to do a forward fold, but we're going to do it with the hands behind us holding the strap. And for this, you can have the hands closer together, and you'll get a better idea once we start to fold forward, because we're going to take the hands back behind us. So you can see my hands are close together, and I can go about this far. If I take my hands closer apart, I have a lot more range here. So you'll have to experiment on what that looks like for yourself. And for this, I take my feet a little bit wider, which you want to do in a forward fold. If you get a sense that your belly is kind of in the way or being compressed a little too much by the thighs, just make yourself a little more room. So press strongly into the feet and have a small bend to the knees and start to fold forward. Once you get to where you're going, let your arms come up any amount. Long and slow in the breath. And then release the arms as you start to pull up. Pausing in Tadasana, hands behind you. Breathe. Bending the knees, exhaling, folding forward. Letting the arms extend up toward the sky. Finding that long, soft breath. Legs are nice and active. And then inhaling to come up, pausing in Tadasana. Take a couple of breaths. One more time, exhaling, folding forward, letting the arms come back up behind you. Inhaling, coming up nice and easy. Okay, let's release the strap. Roll out the shoulders. Shake it all out. Okay, wide stance. When we come into a wide stance, there's no prizes for how wide you are, okay? Just a wide stance that you feel nice and stable. It's not bringing you any discomfort. Your toes are pointed directly to the long side of the mat. Okay, hands on the hips. And we're going to take the left toes to the top of the mat. So that means they're pointing to the short side of the mat. The back foot, you're going to take the heel a little bit closer to the short side of the mat. So your back foot is on a little bit of an angle, and you want to make sure that that angle is not bothering your knees. Press strongly into both feet. This is the base of our pose. So we want it to be nice and strong. And we're just going to start to bend and straighten into your front leg, the left. So a few times here. This gives you a good sense of where you have stability in the knee. And if you start to lose your toes, you can widen your stance so you can find them. You want to be able to see at least the first two. Okay, so pause in this position. Press strongly into both legs. You want the torso going up. We're going to take the chest. The hips stay where they are. So the chest is going to turn toward the long side of the mat. And we're going to inhale, arms up. Exhale down. Okay, so we're in our warrior two stance. We're going to have some movement with the arms. Nice and steady with the breath. Next time the arms come up, as you bring them down, we're going to stop at the shoulders, but make sure your shoulders are releasing down the back, away from the ears, and you could take the gaze toward the left fingers. Breathe. Really try to stay focused on your base, your feet. Finding some ease in the breath. Inhale, arms up to center. Exhale, bring the palms together through center. Turn the toes so they face forward. And then we're going to heel toe in. Okay, so we're going to work on tree pose in between our warriors. So our left leg is going to be the standing leg. Pressing nice and strong into the left. I just want you to first bring your heel in of the right foot. The knee comes out. Everything's working together. So you're really working on drawing in. The glute is working on the left side. Imagine everything coming to center. If you have further to go with this, you can bring your foot up onto your calf. Arms can come in, hands to heart center. And you might even like to take the hands up and overhead. Find your drishti, we call it, your spot, one pointed spot for direction. And breathe. Bring the palms together, coming down, release. Roll out the feet. When we're doing balance postures, if you find yourself coming out of the pose, I always like to give a reminder, pause, take a breath, and then come back into it. Don't just try to pull yourself right back in, like give yourself a moment to adjust. Let's go back to that wide stance. This time it's the right toes that are going to turn out toward your short side of the mat. Left heel goes back just a little smidge. No pain in the knees. Hands to the hips, and we're going to bend into that right leg. Adjusting our stance as we need so we can see our big and second toe. A couple of times, bending and straightening. Next time you come down, pause there. You want your torso up, right? Sometimes we lean forward, so bring your torso up. Hips stay where they are, chest turns forward. And again, we'll inhale, exhale with the arms, having this movement here. So we have a lot of stability from the hips down. Our breath is moving through the torso, and we're moving our hands. This is like a physical posture of having stability with movement or effort with ease. It's kind of how we can navigate life, which is not always smooth and easeful. Okay, one more time, the arms are going to go up. And then as they come down, you settle into the warrior two arms, turning the gaze to the right fingers, Shoulders releasing down the back. Breath long and slow. Good. Inhale, arms up one more time. Bring them down through center. Toes forward. Heel toe together. Or walk your feet together, which is what I prefer. Roll on your feet a little bit. And then we're going to do the right leg in tree pose for the standing leg. So find first your stability in the right leg. The leg is really engaged. The foot's pressing down. Bring the left heel in. Pause here. Gather everything to center. And then if you're going there, slide the foot up onto the calf. Open the knee as best you can. Hands come to heart center. Breathe. And perhaps the arms go up. Slow. Steady with a breath. Give yourself grace wherever you are at today. When you come out, like I just did, you can try to reset and come back in. And then we also try to come out mindfully by releasing the leg, bringing it down, releasing the arms. So just notice how your balance differs from side to side. That's very, very common. And balance also differs from day to day, which is also pretty common. And it actually can be a good indicator of your internal state that you might not be aware of. So keep that in mind as well. We are going to head back down to the floor, have your strap nearby, and also have anything that you like for Shavasana. And we'll meet on the floor. We're going to come to lying on our backs. And make sure you kind of have the side of your mat cleared off and enough room to extend your legs with this next part. So lying on the back, first, we're just going to take some long, slow breaths here and enjoy the support of the earth beneath us. Kind of let yourself have another little check-in. Just noticing where you are, how you're feeling. And then find your strap and place it around the ball area of the right foot. Extend the right foot to the sky. I like to wrap my hand on the strap, so you might try that. If your knee straightens too much, like hyperextends, keep a little bit of a bend in it. And then if it's comfortable for your back, extend your left leg with the heel down, pressing into the ground and the toes up. So the left leg is active in this pose. It's not just hanging out there. You've got a little bit of activity in it, and you also are concentrating here on the left hip staying grounded. And your hands are pulling on the strap about as much as your foot is pressing into the strap. And we'll take some nice long breaths here. If you're having sensation in the back of your leg, which I hope you are, try to breathe through that. Soften everywhere you can, like your face, your breath. Your shoulders can be still kind of released here, right into the ground beneath you and away from the ears. And the left leg is still active. Both ends of the strap go into the right hand. Keep your left leg really active. You can take your left arm out to the left with the palm facing up to the sky. And then let your right leg Come over to the right any amount. It's going to be different for everyone. And you are going to be really working here to keep your left hip grounded. So it's not how far your leg can be. You just want to create some space here. Some lengthening, if you will. And use your breath to encourage that. Two more long, slow breaths here. And let's come back to center. Switch the straps into the left hand. Take the right arm out to the side, the palm facing up. And we're going to let this right leg come over the body. So a couple of things before we do that. Your right hip is going to come along with it. So your right hip is going to lift, but I want you to only go as far as your right shoulder stays on the ground. And once you find your place here, long and slow with the breath. Let's inhale back to center. Release the strap and then hug your right knee into the chest. Take a couple of breaths here. And then let your right knee start to make some circles here. And you can keep your hands on behind the pit of the knee if that feels good. I like to have that support. But just bringing a little bit of movement to the hip joints. And then releasing the right foot down. The strap goes around the left. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So get yourself situated first with the left foot pressing into the strap, and then extend your right leg when you're ready. Remember that right leg stays active, the right hip does. Find that nice slow breath. Let those shoulders really be fully supported by the earth beneath you. Right leg stays active. Nice and easy with the breath. And then take the straps into the right hand. Left arm out to the left, palm facing up. Left leg is going to go over. The hip will lift, but keep the shoulder on the ground as best you can. And breathe. Couple of more cycles here. And inhale back to center. Hug the left knee into the chest. And then some circles with the left. Okay, one more thing we're going to do with the strap, and that is to place it around both feet. So your knees are going to be bent. The strap goes around both feet, and you press the soles of the feet together. So we've done this before. This is kind of like Baddha Konasana legs. Some people call this butterfly. And then you see where your heels will go. For some people, they're just going to be up high and you're just going to work here. Other people might have more space to bring the heels down and let the knees open. And we'll take some long breaths here. You just want to check in and see that your shoulders and your low back are all supported. Nothing's trying to give extra help here. And just breathe. Back to that thought of letting your breath be felt in the belly and letting that feeling kind of bring you back into the present. It draws you down back into the body, into the present moment. Releasing the strap. And then we'll hug both knees into the chest here. You might like to rock a little side to side. Give your low back a nice little massage. I also like to make circles with my knees here. So you can see if that would feel good to you or what your preference is. And then extend the feet up to the sky, roll up the ankles, both directions. Point and flex the feet. And we are headed for Shavasana here. So whatever your preference is, I always like to have support underneath my legs, my knees specifically, but you can put a bolster there, or as you can see today, I just have a big pillow. So I'm going to use that for my support. When you're in Shavasana, it's nice to check in with your chin and see if your chin is up too high, it will open up the front of your throat. So you want to bring it down a little bit till you feel some space in the back of the neck. And it should too feel comfortable for you. So see if you can find a spot that feels good there. And as we get settled into Shavasana, we'll go back to a long extended breath. And for just 5 or 6 cycles of breath, do that extended exhale that we practiced earlier. With the thought that with each exhalation like that, you are moving into a deeper state of rest. Your body is releasing into the earth, into the support of your yoga mat. Giving yourself permission to be in deep rest for this bit of time. And as you feel yourself relaxing, think of your limbs, your arms, and your legs getting nice and heavy. With each exhalation. And let your breath take its natural rhythm. And we'll do a loving kindness meditation together as we rest. So, in your mind's eye, holding space for yourself. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live in safety. And may I live in peace. And holding space in your mind's eye for a loved one. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live in safety. May you live in peace. Holding space for someone that you might not know very well. Maybe it's a person at the grocery store, person who delivers packages to you, whoever that is, holding a space for them. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live in safety. May you live in peace. Calling to your mind's eye someone in your life that you find challenging. And holding a space for that person. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live in safety. May you live in peace. And once more, bringing to your mind's eye yourself again. All the parts of yourself that you know. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live in safety. May I live in peace. We'll rest together for a few moments in silence. over the next couple of breath cycles, really taking your time. Just begin this gentle awakening. There's some movement in the fingers and the toes, in the wrists and the ankles. When you're ready, I like to draw the legs up or move the knees side to side. Really anything that feels soothing here and not too disturbing. And when you're ready, you'll roll to one side, but pause there and let yourself take a couple of long, slow breaths, really being present for these last few moments. And in a gentle manner, come to a comfortable seat. A couple of long, slow breaths here. Bringing your palms together at heart center as a sign of appreciation and gratitude to yourself for making time for a yoga practice today. And I thank you for sharing your yoga practice with me. Namaste.